Day 1. Arrival in Moscow. Sue and Paul step onto Red Square, dwarfed by the grandeur of Moscow.
Sue stretches, absorbing the unfamiliar atmosphere. Okay, first impression, this is not L.A.
Paul surveys the scene with a thoughtful expression. No palm trees, fewer Teslas, but hey, I see potential.
Sue's gaze rises to St. Basil's Cathedral. Paul, it's like someone built a gingerbread castle on steroids.
In a cozy restaurant near Arbat Street, Sue and Paul sit across from each other, their faces lit by the warm glow of the lights above.
Paul eyes his bowl of borscht with apprehension. So, it's soup, but it's purple?
Sue playfully challenges him. Eat it, Mr. Adventurous. Didn't you say you'd try everything?
Paul cautiously tastes the soup. Okay, tastes like beet-flavored survival. Sue laughs as they clink glasses of kvass, celebrating the shared moment.
Day 2. Moscow's heartbeat sunlight bathes the Tretyakov Gallery, a sanctuary of Russian art. Amid masterpieces, Paul and Sue stroll, their figures dwarfed by history.
Sue pauses, captivated by the artistry. Look at the detail on this. You can almost feel the fabric.
Paul jokes, attempting to blend into the exhibit. Do you think if I stand really still, people will mistake me for an exhibit?
Sue retorts playfully. Yeah, the exhibit called Confused Tourist in Jeans.
Their laughter echoes softly through the gallery, mingling with the silent stories of the art. Arbat Street buzzes with life as Sue pauses at a vibrant stall, her attention captured by a cascade of matryoshka dolls. With a soft smile, Sue lifts one of the dolls, its painted face reflecting her own amusement.
She's so cute! Look, a whole family inside, Sue exclaims, her voice filled with delight.
Paul approaches, a playful glint in his eyes as he quips, just like our future kids. Except these don't talk back.
Sue turns to Paul, her smile widening as she retorts, Funny, you'll be the one talking back.
The bustling street fades as Sue and Paul share a moment of playful banter amidst the colorful dolls. The Moskva River reflects the shimmering lights of the city, a beacon of romance under the Russian sky. Sue leans against Paul, her hair catching the last light, framing her in a soft, ethereal glow.
Paul turns to Sue, his voice filled with wonder. Can you believe we're here? Just you and me, Russia as our backdrop.
Sue smiles, retorting playfully, You're lucky I like you enough to share the view.
The river cruise continues its journey, the city lights casting a mesmerizing spell on their shared moment. Day 3. From Moscow to St. Petersburg. The Sapsan train cuts through the Russian countryside, a blur of green and gold.
Sue gazes out the window, captivated by the endless fields. Look at those fields! So green! It's like a painting!
Paul breaks the spell with a touch of sarcasm. Yeah, but do you think anyone would notice if I added a Starbucks in the corner?
Sue retorts with a playful scolding. Starbucks is not Russian heritage, Paul.
Paul and Sue enter Palace Square, a realm of imperial grandeur under the vast sky of St. Petersburg. Sue, overwhelmed by the majesty, whirls in place, her eyes tracing the architectural splendor.
It feels like we just stepped into a royal movie set, Sue exclaims, her voice echoing with awe.
Paul surveys the scene with a more critical eye, remarking, or a palace that swallowed an art museum. Together, they stand amidst the splendor, two figures dwarfed by the magnitude of history and art. Paul stands at the entrance to a seemingly endless gallery, his expression a mix of awe and panic.
Okay, this place is huge. If we get lost, remember, meet by the giant golden peacock clock.
Sue responds with a hint of sarcasm. Or just call me on WhatsApp, you drama king.
Paul's gaze sweeps across the countless masterpieces, a sense of being overwhelmed washing over him. Nevsky Prospect glitters. A river of light under the velvet night. Sue's glass lifts towards the sky, catching the light.
Sue smiles and says, "To history, art, and not losing my husband in a museum."
Paul, smiling, responds, "To blisters from walking, and to the prettiest travel buddy ever."
Day 4. Palaces and Gardens. The Peterhof Palace gardens sprawl in majestic array, fountains shimmering under the sun. Paul and Sue stroll through the elaborate gardens, their laughter echoing softly in the grand surroundings. A sudden burst from a mischievous fountain catches Sue by surprise.
Sue laughs, caught off guard. "Ah, okay, so now I'm part of the show."
Paul grins. The palace approves of you. Royal initiation complete.
Together, they laugh, sharing a moment of lighthearted joy amidst the regal splendor. Sue and Paul wander through Catherine Palace, where sunlight turns the polished floors into shimmering expanses. They continue, the ornate walls reflecting a golden glow. Inside the Amber Room, Sue halts, her eyes widening in amazement at the sight. Sue whispers, "It's like standing inside a gemstone."
Paul adds, "This room could pay off our mortgage 10 times over." Sue retorts, "Only 10? Aim higher."
The St. Petersburg canals glow under the ethereal light of the white nights, the sun refusing to set. Paul, gazing at the almost midnight sun, marvels. "So it's midnight and still sunny. Do people here ever sleep?"
Sue, entranced by the city's beauty, responds, "If I lived here, I wouldn't. Too much beauty to waste on sleeping."
The golden light bathes the ancient buildings along the canal, their reflections shimmering in the water. A gentle breeze stirs the water, creating ripples that dance with the city's golden reflection. The city breathes, awake and alive, under the never-ending twilight of the white nights. Day 5. Cultural immersion. In the majestic hall of the Russian Museum, Paul and Sue enter, bathed in the soft glow of morning light. Sue sits on a velvet bench, her journal open, capturing the essence of art with swift strokes.
Paul roams, a digital recorder in hand, documenting his observations with meticulous detail. "You're turning into an artist," he muses.
Sue retorts, "I'm just trying to capture the feeling. You're turning into a nerd." Paul grins, "Hey, nerds rule the world."
Bathed in sunlight, Paul and Sue sit at a cozy table, a shared plate of blind eye promising a delightful meal.
With unbridled enthusiasm, Paul declares, This is the greatest food invention ever. Pancakes, but better."
Sue gently teases, "You've said that 3 times, and you've had 5 pancakes."
Paul defends his indulgence for research purposes.
The dusting of flour on the table glistens, hinting at the simple pleasures of shared food and easy companionship. In the afternoon, they visited the Church of the Savior on Spilled Blood. Inside the church, Sue and Paul stand in awe, bathed in the radiant glow of countless mosaics.
Sue, mesmerized by the scene, murmurs, "It feels like being inside a jewel box."
Paul smiles gently, teasing, "Careful, you're about to turn poetic."
The light dances across the mosaics, reflecting the wonder and affection between them. As the day closed, they watched a ballet performance at the Mariinsky Theater. The Mariinsky Theater glows, and dancers move ethereally across the stage. Silhouettes dance against velvet curtains as the audience stills in anticipation.
Paul whispers, "Okay, I didn't expect ballet to hit me in the feels."
Sue responds, "Welcome to Culture Shock."
Day 6. A day of fun and discovery. In Moscow's vibrant Gorky Park, Sue and Paul pedal through a sun-drenched day. Sue, a flash of bright color, overtakes Paul on a scooter.
With playful taunt, Sue shouts, "Eat my dust!"
Paul, trailing behind, retorts with a grin. You only won because scooters have turbo speed.
They laugh, enjoying the playful competition amid the lush greenery. Amidst the bustling Izmailovsky market, a treasure trove of crafts, antiques, and souvenirs, Paul playfully tries on a giant fur hat, its depth swallowing half his face. With a burst of playful energy, Paul strikes a pose, puffing out his chest in jest.
Paul's voice booms with playful curiosity. How do I look? James Bond or Fuzzy Bear?
Sue's affectionate reply rings out with warmth and humor. Definitely Fuzzy Bear. My handsome Fuzzy Bear.
Paul laughs, enjoying the lighthearted moment with Sue. Sue steps closer to Paul, her eyes sparkling with affection. Beneath soft lights, Paul and Sue find themselves at a rooftop restaurant. Moscow's skyline painting a backdrop of twinkling lights. A gentle breeze whispers through the air as Sue's gaze drifts over the cityscape.
Paul raises his glass in a toast to discovering new places.
Sue's eyes sparkle with mischief as she replies, and to making fools of ourselves while doing it.
Paul smiles, affirming their shared spirit of adventure. That's our brand.
Day 7. Farewell reflections. Under a pale, washed-out sky, Red Square awakens, its ancient stones bathed in the soft morning light.
Sue's voice cracks, her eyes reflecting a deep sadness. I don't want this to end.
Paul turns to Sue, his gaze tender yet resolute.
He reassures her, his voice calm and steady. Trip's end.
His eyes sparkle with shared memories. But the stories stick forever. Paul and Sue enter the vibrant gum department store, anticipation sparkling in their eyes. Moments of sweet delight turn to dismay as Paul watches his ice cream plummet. A burst of laughter escapes Sue as Paul groans in playful frustration.
Down goes the strawberry soldier, Paul laments, a hint of humor in his voice.
Sue extends an offer of shared sweetness. Here, I'll share, and that's real love.
The restaurant glows with candlelight, shadows playing across Paul and Sue's faces.
Paul raises his glass, a toast on his lips, to adventures that make us feel alive.
Sue responds, her eyes sparkling. And to us, partners in travel, partners in life.
Airport departure. Saying goodbye to Russia. The sun's glare bounces off a plane as it takes off, leaving a trail of dreams in its wake.
Sue sighs, a hint of melancholy in her voice. I can't believe we're leaving already. Feels like we just got here.
Paul proposes a tempting detour. We could accidentally miss the flight. You know, stay another week.
Sue dismisses the thought with a laugh. And have our jobs fire us? Not the best souvenir.
As they walk towards their gate, the reality of departure hangs heavy in the air. A bittersweet farewell. Bathed in the radiant glow of the airport terminal, Paul gazes towards the distant plane, his expression a mix of hope and contemplation. Sue gently rests her head on Paul's shoulder, her soft smile radiating contentment and affection.
Paul's voice rings with anticipation and promise. That's our ride home. But it doesn't feel like the end. It feels like chapter 1 of a bigger story.
Sue's eyes sparkle with mischief as she proposes. Then let's make a pact. More trips, more stories, more laughing at your terrible jokes in random countries.
Feigning offense, Paul retorts with a playful indignation. Excuse me, my jokes are top tier.
The boarding call echoes, marking the beginning of their departure.
Paul whispers a soft farewell. Spasibo, Russia.
Sue echoes the sentiment. Thank you, Russia.